Hi, my name is Mary LaLanne. I'm the president of the Lakeside Area Neighbors Association, and I'm going to attempt to convey to the Zoning and Development Committee what's been going on before the June 10th meeting tomorrow with the developer in our block club for the last 6 weeks. So here we go. So we're talking about the 4600 North Marine Drive proposal and the surface parking lot of Weiss Hospital. On April 29th, we had a Z&D meeting where the committee granted us a 6-week extension to make requests of the developer and come to some compromises about the structure. We met them 2 weeks later exactly. We provided feedback. They responded to our feedback. They did not make any changes to the proposal since April 29th. And we asked for some clarifications about any changes to the proposal that they made based on LANA feedback at all in the last week, and clarified what might still be negotiable. And tonight, on June 10th, we're going to have a final decision. Also notable, on May 26th, in the middle of our negotiation, the Lincoln Property submitted a zoning change application to City Council, and it is already on the Zoning Landmarks and Building Standards Committee agenda for June 22nd. Recall that our first meeting was mostly focused on the hospital owner, Pipeline Health. They lied to state legislators about keeping the 3 hospitals they bought open by closing Westlake. Ended up paying a large settlement fee for that. So it made us concerned about their true intentions with Weiss, but we are moving on from Pipeline today, and we're going to focus on Lincoln Property Company, the developer. What we asked for in the changes to the development was to provide a traffic study. We received one today, less than 24 hours before the Zoning and Development Committee meeting. Our block club has never seen it before. I first received it in the email from Tressa that went out a couple hours ago. We also asked for some different rideshare configurations and different entrance configurations based on what we know about the traffic in our area. We asked for a slight increase in affordability. Affordability is very important in Atlanta. We have the second highest poverty census tract on the north side. So we asked the developer to comply with the new ARO, which would require them to build 5% instead of 2.5% of their on-site affordable units, just increasing from 8 to 16 out of 314. We thought this was a small change. And then in terms of shape and height, we suggested this step-shaped building to minimize the impact on property owners of 811 West Eastwood, who will have their views and sunlight obstructed by the building, as well as the Covington rental building. So the developer sent us back these changes. Most of the changes that they made were in conversations with the Department of Planning and Development, which is a city committee, as well as Uptown United, which is our business chamber, but they also have many other functions in Uptown United. They have community partners, development partners, and the special service areas. So the Uptown United that voted on this particular zoning change is the development partners. They're composed of a lot of developers, as well as some local architects, nonprofit leaders, all from Uptown, but it's a committee of primarily developers voting on a development. Changes requested by LANA that we started requesting in January. Some of these changes, we actually went back into our meeting recordings and we found that they were presented in earlier meetings. So I think that some of them have been part of the plans the whole time. Some of them are required by the city's sustainability matrix, but if you want to see any comments on bird safety and low reflective glass, that's in our January 28th meeting with the developer. The Marine Drive drop-off, that was in the April 29th Zoning and Development Committee meeting. That's when we saw that. And the electric vehicle charging stations in the garage were clarified as part of the city's sustainability matrix. In our meeting on May 13th, they said that they were actually required by Department of Planning and Development. So I don't know that these are changes that resulted from our negotiations so much as they are requirements by the city. They said that they're still negotiable on color and landscaping at this point. But because they've already submitted their zoning change application, those changes would actually have to be approved by the city before they would be incorporated into the plan. This is the view from the roof of 811 Eastwood. I just want to show you how that they're going to be impacted. 811 Eastwood is a 6-story building. This is where the building would be blocking their view, and that's how it would impact their property values. So the 46 ward zoning and development process, as you know, we usually start with a big public community meeting. We haven't had those during COVID. Then it goes to the block club. Our block club is 91% opposed to this development. Then it goes to the 46 ward zoning and development committee. That's today. That was also April 29th. And then it goes to city council. This is important. This is our ward process. But I wanted to let you know about what happens when it gets to City Council. So it has to go through Department of Planning and Development. Michael Berkshire is the urban planner for the North Side. It also goes through the Chicago Plan Commission because it's part of the Lakefront Protection Ordinance and it's a planned development, meaning it has some special zoning configurations. It's not a traditional zoning designation. Might be something like RM5. It's usually like 2 letters and then a number that tells you the height and the FAR. But in this case, it's a planned development, meaning that they have more flexibility. Then once the bill is introduced, it goes to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Since Lincoln Properties introduced this zoning change already through the miscellaneous transmittal process, it's actually already on the schedule for June 22nd in the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards, and then it goes to the full City Council. But after it passes committee, it's pretty much a rubber stamp. So again, here's the miscellaneous transmittal that happened on May 26th during our negotiation process with Lincoln Properties that locked the application in from further changes unless they get approved by Department of Planning and Development retroactively. The alderman promised that he would remove it from or ask Tom Tunney to remove it from the agenda if the Zoning and Development Committee of the 46th Ward votes it down tonight. We did ask him in an email and he responded. I also wanted to let you know that Weiss Hospitals has been soliciting votes from members of our Block Club area asking to support the zoning change. This is really kind of deceptive and works around our internal community process. I know that last time I talked about how we typically get about 100 votes and feedback when we do a voting on a zoning change. So notice that they're soliciting 200 letters by June 8th in support. This email went out to a listserv of the people who pay to rent parking in their 6-story structure. We received it as well. They collected these letters asking for support of a zoning change from members that both live in our boundaries and outside of our boundaries. You can see that this letter says total support for the zoning application. They never showed the development. They never showed the zoning application. They never showed any kind of impacts. It actually confused some of our membership. Some of our membership filled this letter out. And we also received a no vote on the development through our normal process. So we ask, when we do a Google form, we have yes and no options pretty clearly marked, and it's a less bias application. But this was really deceptive because it just said support the hospital, and everybody in our Block Club loves the hospital and we want to support the hospital. But I just wanted to warn you that this may come up in the committee meeting. So please do not allow this change to happen. Please allow LANA to have complete and equitable community process for this development. We appreciate your support, and I hope, given everything that's happened, that your Block Club chooses to vote in solidarity with us. We always like to support the nearest neighbors when we're considering a development in another part of the ward. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our LANA Gmail account is lakesiderneighbors46@gmail.com. You can email questions there. The whole board will see them. You can reach out to me personally on my cell phone, which I will include in the email. We hope to see you tomorrow, and we hope that you vote no on the zoning change on June 10th. Thank you very much.